Hello all, I'm Sai and you're watching The Book Dragon. In today's video, I'm bringing to you a spoiler-free review of This Is Going to Hurt by Adam Kay. Now, this is the month of June and I've read 7 books until now, which is like 4 to 5 days in the month, and it is a bit good. This is a good kickstart to the month, and I must say this is the best book that I've read in such a long time, and also I'm sure that this is going to be one of my most favorite books that I've read this year because it was such an impactful book. And also this video is not going to be very long because usually I tend to split my review into portions speaking about certain aspects of the book, but there are not that many aspects that are focused in this book except one single thing which I'm going to speak out throughout the video. So there will not be partitions like plot, characters and any such thing, because this is not fiction, it is non-fiction, and it is like it is like an autobiography but with certain elements that are tied into the story by the author. So let's just get into the video. Now let's see what this book is actually about. Now, just as the title of the book itself says, this story is definitely going to hurt. It's not at all a soft or light-hearted story in any way. Now the story is about the life of the author when he used to be a gynecologist for 10 years in his life. That is, after finishing his college, he was a junior doctor for like 5 to 6 years, and then he became a senior. This is spread out for like 10 to 12 years of the author's life, and I should say this is not at all an easy book to read. If you're looking for an easy cozy read, please don't pick this up. Or if you're looking for some inspirational book as an autobiography, then also I'll not suggest you to take this up, because rather than encouraging you to do stuff in order to become a doctor, he puts out the challenges that a person will face after becoming a doctor rather than trying to become one. I said that there are multiple challenges that will be faced by doctors that have been discussed in this book. And I should say, most of us have this prejudice in the society that doctors are rich, they make a lot of money, hence their relationships will be good, they'll have a good family, they'll be soft and kind natured in their heart, they'll be mostly, how to say, free of any trouble as they make a lot of money. But all those things are true to some extent, but after that there is this thing which is the amount of time a doctor gets as a person, not as a doctor, as a person. While reading this book, I understood that the only time that a doctor has as a person rather than a professional, that is a doctor, is the time during which he or she sleeps, because the author, he has discussed multiple cases that he had faced as a doctor while he used to practice in this book, and some of these cases are so weird. I told you that this book is a very tough one to get through, and that is mainly because this is a book about the life of a doctor who was a gynecologist, and from all these things, apart from all these things, he was a gynecologist who was also a male. So a female handling gynecology is not at all same when compared to a male, though they are doctors in the basic sense. Rather than that, they are human beings first. So that was very well portrayed in this book. And also, what are the challenges that a male will face while taking up a field that most males in that particular profession are not focused towards. That was very much beautifully portrayed. And also, apart from that, how difficult a job it can be at times, and how frustrating it can be to be a doctor, and there's nothing you can do about it. You just have to be frustrated and you have to deal with it. That's what is shown, just like, how to say, it's like the reflection of a real doctor's life that is put into this book. It's not even a long book, but I'm sure that it will take a lot of time to read because of the content that it has. It also has a lot of trigger warnings, because there are a lot of how to say, there's a lot of explicit medical or surgical scenes that are discussed throughout the book, and some cases which he has spoken of in this book, they are like terrifying. Do people even do this in the real life? It was like that, and most of the cases that he has discussed, he has said that all of them are real, and in order to mask the people who are behind these things which happened, he has used false names for everyone mostly. And that's the best part of the book. If you're looking for something like that, you have to read this book for sure. Okay, I have said that this book is so hard to read so many times within a small amount of time in this video, but I should say, usually this amount of trigger warning containing books or things that have a lot of content that is so grotesque in nature, they take a lot of time for me to read. But there is this particular thing which the author does in every page and every chapter of the book, which will not make you feel uncomfortable, but it will make you want to take more of this bad thing that is happening to a profession or a professional, that is a doctor. And the thing about this book is that he writes it in such a way, or he narrates his story in such a way that though the story is so hard, it is so cruel, and it is not that easily digestible, he narrates it in such a humorous way. He has this weird sense of humor, if you ask me. He's actually discussing his plight with the readers, but he does it in such a way that the reader, he doesn't want the reader to feel sympathetic towards him. He just wants the empathy of the readers or people in general towards the community of doctors, which is great. If you ask me, a doctor is paid for sure, but uh, what amount of work or what amount of psychological pain, stress, and depression they have to handle while doing their job for the money. That's what makes that profession a special one and a coveted one, if you ask me. I usually respect doctors a lot because it takes a lot to become a doctor, but this book has given me an even bigger sense of how hard it is to be a doctor rather than become one. Becoming one itself is very tough, but being one is tougher than that, as discussed in this book. And the main reason why he says this is because he discusses multiple cases, and most of these cases are so grotesque. As I said before, it's the story of a gynecologist who's also a male, so he has to deal with cases that are dealing with the female reproductive system all the time, and there are multiple accidents which take place to women in this particular field of medicine, and he has to deal with some totally so weird cases, but he presents them to us in such a believable way. And I'm sure that there is a maximum probability of these things to happen in the real world. And also this was such a good book, guys. I cannot tell you and make you understand how good this book is. I feel that every person needs to read this book. It will take a lot of time to read, and it is a lot to take in also. But I really do think that we owe this to the doctors out there, especially during this time. This was not a planned read for me. I was not expecting to read this book, but I didn't know anything about this book first. I had just seen it pop up in my feed a few times a month or two back, and I just wanted to read it. I didn't even know what the book was about. I just went into it, read it or listened to it, and it was such a painful ride. It was such a hurting ride, but I enjoyed it a lot. Please do try this one, and I rated it 5 stars. That's all for today, and that was my review, as I said before. And I highly suggest that everyone needs to read this book, and I'm sure that it's going to be very tough to get through. So while you're reading this book, don't read it alone. Have some how to say, like a different book on the other side, like a humorous book or a romantic book that's going on, and parallelly read the two books. Though it is so humorous throughout, it is also that much hurtful and painful, and it needs to be read by everyone. That's what I think. And that's it for today. If you found this video enjoyable and interesting, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and also share it to your friends. If you want to get more content from me, do subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching and have a great rest of your day.